I said in the introduction that you've been together for a long time, sort of 30 years now.
You had the operation yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. No, I started off on amateur concerts. I started off at Miss Hunter's dancing class over the plaza at Morecambe. And I used to live at Christie Avenue, you see, at number 43. And our Peggy, she used to live at 23 Christie Avenue. And she came down to be about 1937. And she said, Sadie, that's my mother's name, Sadie. And she said, Auntie Sadie, she used to call her, because she liked her. And she said, Auntie Sadie, I'm going to dancing class. So my mother said, how much is it? And our Peggy said, it's £1. So she said, well, do us a favour, take him with you. Keep him out of the way on Saturday mornings. And I used to go, I was the only boy there.
Yes.
Yeah. Seriously. Then I had private lessons. Well, I ended up as the only girl there. I can't go out long now.
What was the first time that you met them?
What? Oh, wait a minute, It was yesterday morning, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I wish you'd introduce us. I don't know who he is.
Where did we first...
I won a Lancashire, it was called a Lancashire and Cheshire contest.
Yes.
In Hoylake.
Yes, that's right.
Just outside of Liverpool, where when we worked with Glenda Jackson, funnily enough, she comes from Hoylake.
Yeah, that's right.
Quickly.
I
was doing what they call a droll. I was a droll comic in those days. Used to sing a song called I'm Not All There.
He's still doing it.
I hated it, really, because I'd be, 13, 14, 15. I hated actually singing that particular song because I had to dress up. I had the beret, the kiss curl, the big glasses, and a lollipop, a cut-down coat with a big pin, short trousers, red socks, and suspenders. It was basically a northern idea in those days of comedy, I presume.
Yes.
Yes.
The interesting part about that was that I had exactly the same outfit, more or less.
But he wore it outside, which was ridiculous.
Excuse
me. Can I?
I stopped talking.
I wasn't doing business.
No, oh, you're not?
No, I'm going to have one.
It's probably neat gin, I should think, isn't it? No. It's all right. We used to work with other acts on the bill. There used to be...
Water.
Moon
and Bentley.
Moon and Bentley. There used to be an act called Moon and Bentley.
Which was Georgie Moon.
Georgie Moon.
And Dick Bentley.
Dick Bentley.
And they used to do a double act.
Great act.
They were very funny. Very marvellous. And we used to emulate.
Is that the word?
On the side of the stage, yes. We used to emulate.
How much emulating did you do?
Oh, a lot. Between 12 and 17, I never stopped.
Was that before or after you got the equipment?
Instead of.
So,
I've got a small arse as well, you know.
Who were the influences, though, on your career when you were younger? What about movies?
Oh, yeah, Lowland Hardy.
Marvellous.
Yes, well, if, honestly, I'm perfectly serious. If you do analyse what we do at all, you will see, I see a tremendous amount of Lowland Hardy. I used to watch Lowland Hardy when I was a kid, and not Stan, the other fellow, Babe. Oliver Hardy. He was the first one ever to use a camera.
Yeah, that's right.
He always looked, can you give me number 3? That's the one. He always used to go like that. Straight at a cinema audience, which is fabulous, and you're not allowed to do it now. Yeah. They'd say, we tried to do it in some films, didn't we?
Yes, they did. They wouldn't let us do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. To bring the audience, we're the camera, really.
Oh, wouldn't go on.
And those two, Lowland Hardy, and of course, Abbott and Costello influenced us greatly, to such an extent that we had American accents.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah, we used to perform with American accents.
I'm waiting for him to lose his.
Hello there, it's great to be here,
I've got records, seriously, I've got records at home, Ernie and I, in early broadcasts, around about 1940, 41, where we are, Abbott and Costello, where we go. Yes. I'm a bad boy. And do all that. I listen to him now, I colour up.
Yeah.
On my own, I blush. And he's going, now what are you going to do, Morecambe?
What are you going to... Morecambe, I called him, yeah. What are you going to do now, Morecambe? Yeah. You can't get away with that, I don't listen to that.
But we did, though, didn't we?
Yes. I don't think they know what we're talking about, Abbott and Costello. We're getting a bit old.
Yeah.
And
during the war, it was about 1940, we went into striking a note.
We went striking a note.
With,
what were you doing there?
Sitfield.
Sitfield, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And beautiful girls in that show.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they used to walk about, you know.
Yeah.
Naked. Yeah,
yes, it's true.
Remember that?
Yes.
What these beautiful showgirls with black shoes and black gloves. Look like the Five of Spades walking
Yes,
down.
it's true.
Fantastic.
I remember George Black said to him, if he didn't blink once, he'd go blind.
Yeah. It was in that show I started wearing these. That's where I got that from, you know. Around the corner.
And you could look in at the back of the Mapleton Hotel there and by Joe, there's some things went on. Really?
Oh, those Americans were tearing it down.
Yeah.
Tell me, when you spent a tremendous long time, didn't you, on the road playing all the theatres and this sort of thing. After the war, what was that like? Was it, looking back, was it an enjoyable time or what?
Well, I mean, it was tough in the first place. There's different stages of it. You start in the smaller theatres and then you move into the Moss Empires, which was the big thing. But we were always second spot, and we had to go on there and register straight away.
What about the Glasgow theatres? I mean, they got...
Oh, no, they were tough. Yeah.
Oh,
They were tough.
well,
Somehow, I don't know why, but they had a thing against English comics, didn't they?
they couldn't understand
I think we helped it.
I remember once going on there and we came off to our own footsteps.
Yeah.
And the fireman was in the corner and he said to me, they're getting to like you. He said,
Really?
Yeah, well, they haven't thrown anything.
they hadn't thrown anything, yes. They sat there.
And there's a comic, I won't mention his name, but he fainted, Des O'Connor.
Yes.
I won't mention his name. He actually walked on and went, well, ladies and gentlemen, and it was carried off.
Did they applaud him?
Oh, dear.
Anytime you're feeling lonely.
And he was that night.
That must have been an extraordinary area to learn in, to learn the business in that. I mean, you survive that, you survive anything, I should imagine.
Well, I suppose so, basically.
Well, the windmill was the same, though.
Was it?
Oh, yes. Worse. Worse. I mean, we followed...
We only lasted a week there.
Really?
I became a nervous wreck. No, we did. Tell him the story. And let me interrupt to get a few laughs.
Well, first of all, we gave him an audition, Van Damme.
He used to go, well, it was known by his initials.
Yes.
He was. He was known as VD, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Really?
It really was.
Yes. Really?
Really true.
We were quite shocked, weren't we?
Yeah.
But he
We
was.
just laughed, didn't we?
Yeah. And we gave an audition in a little tiny room, about that big. And he stood there, you know, and watched us do this performance. So we used to do this little run across gigs. And the pianist played, and we came on and sang the opening song, How's About a Little Ramble in the Moonlight. And then he came across to these little quickies with an urn on his shoulder, you know. What's a Greek urn?
About 30 bob a week.
But I think that's yes. And he was flabbergasted, and he booked us.
There's a man outside with a funny face. Go tell him you've got one.
The invisible man's outside.
Tell him I can't see him.
Yeah.
You should do all that.
Yes. Quick, though.
My dad's got no nose. Ask me how he smells. It's terrible.
Terrible.
We do all that. We're doing them now.
We actually used to have a fishing rod. We used to have a stick with a bit of string on it, with an apple on the end.
Yeah, and
And
throw
he
it
used
over
to
the
throw
orchestra.
it like that, over the orchestra, like that. And he used to say, what are you doing?
Fishing.
I'm fishing. He said, well, you don't catch fish with an apple, you catch fish with a worm.
That's all right. The worm's inside the apple.
Yes.
And it took us years to get out of that stuff, didn't it?
It.
Oh.
I'll tell you who else didn't listen to him either. That was the television audience the first time we did television together. Because I didn't realise, in fact, until I looked up the sort of cuttings on you, this very cruel thing that somebody said about your first television
Logan
series.
Gourley, yes.
Was it Logan Gourley?
Logan Gourley.
Logan Gourley, in The People it was, if I'm not mistaken. He said, have you got it there?
No, well, you say it nicely.
Was it
Well,
the
no,
Express?
because mine was Venom.
Was it? Are we getting all bitter and twisted now?
Oh, just a bit.
No, it's I mean, if he looks back at it, he must regret the day he ever said it, because he said television is the box they buried Morecambe and Wise in.
That's true,
Yes,
huh?
yes.
I should have said it, you know.
Yes. He said, what's that box in the corner? Is it a television set? He said, no,
No,
it's the box they buried Morecambe and Wise.
I should have done it. There's
Yes,
no
well, you
argument
should
about it. Yeah.
With a couple of good
Another
straight
one
men.
was...
Yeah.
Poor old Alma Cogan, she was with us in that show. It says, Alma Cogan stands out like a rose in the garden of weeds. The other one was Get 'em Off.
Yeah. He was more to the point, wasn't he?
What was the reason for this?
Oh, very simple.
What?
It was terrible.
Really, yeah.
Really?
It was terrible. I only wish the BBC had kept the tapes, but they couldn't afford it then. But I wish they'd have kept them, because I'd like to have seen them to see really how...
As a matter of fact, quite honestly, they weren't as bad as what people made out. They were only on a fortnight, half hour on a Thursday night.
That's it. And it was the early stages of television. I'm sure they weren't as bad as all that, but now we've no record of them.
And since when, I mean, that's extraordinary rise to the top. A rise which, in fact, was what I suppose nearly brought to a premature end 4 years ago. Today, this very day,
yeah.
when you had your heart
Yes,
attack.
that's right.
Yeah. Oh, I'll do anything with a laugh.
How are you feeling? Oh, you're all right. You
great,
feel all
never
right.
felt
That's
better.
good. That's good. Yeah. I thought that was going to happen back there with Raquel.
But for a different reason. And in a different place. And I would drive home in the car. Thank you. All right. And I drove home in the car. Cheers. Cheers. Let's say you got a lovely home here. Very nice. Great, that.
And how would you get these personalities onto your show? I mean, your most extraordinary knack you have of persuading the most unlikely people. I mean, one thing's of Andre Previn, for instance, who came on brilliantly funny, Glenda Jackson and people like this. I mean, how do you manage it?
Quite simple, really.
Yes.
It's our producer does it.
Producer does it, of course.
John Ammons.
John Ammons, yes.
We say, you'll never get her. You'll never get him. He tugs his moustache. Like that. I said, we'll see.
Yes.
Phone, rings them and they say yes.
Yes. But I mean, but ultimately they've got to say yes, and they've got to agree to come on with the two of you, and they know what they're in for.
You know, they're queuing up now to be insulted. And I mean that in the nicest possible way.
Have you ever contemplated splitting up, going your own ways at all?
No.
Not till tonight. Sorry.
But how does the relationship work? I mean, who decides what's funny? Who decides that...
Well, Ernie does all the business side
Yeah.
of it, and we split the money down the middle, 60-40, because he's very clever.
But you pay less tax.
Well, of course, yeah. But he gets the 60, I get the 40. I'd like to make movies like this.
Oh, wait, he's
you've
doing
seen
those
them.
route signs again, look.
Yeah.
This is Pontefract in Yorkshire, the hometown of the great sweet of all time, or one of the great sweets of all time, the licorice old sort. Pontefract is a monument to the little sweet tooth. For over 100 years now, the 5 factories that make licorice all sorts here have had their insatiable demand for licorice supplied by the home growers around here, but no longer is that true. They're now importing their stuff from, the licorice from Turkey. Consequently, the industry here has died. This is positively the last crop of licorice ever to be grown in Pontefract. Dug up toward the end of the year. No more. This is the end.
That's extraordinary. Where do you get that from?
Oh, we find them.
Yeah.
We find them.
Would
We
you-
know where the body's buried.
Would you like to...
About American audiences.
Oh, a lot of people are saying that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I like them. I like them because they're over there.
But in fact, you've worked in America.
We used to do the Ed Sullivan Show.
A lot of Sullivan shows.
Yeah, we used to do the Ed Sullivan Show. He introduced us as a three-handed act when we did it. Morey, Canby and Wise.
Yeah.
Really?
Morey, Canby and Wise, yeah.
Felt like a seal act.
Canby and Wise.
So you've no real ambition about going over there at all?
No, quite. As far as I'm concerned, what I'd like to do is I want to stay here. I'm very happy here. I love it here. We earn money here. We're stars here, and it's great. If the Americas or the Americans want us to go over there, they've got to do it here.
Yes.
They've got to buy the shows.
By the shows.
You see, I won't go over there, and I will not say sidewalk. You know, I will not say garbage.
Garbage,
It's
that's rubbish,
pavement,
isn't it? Pavement.
and rubbish, as far as I'm concerned.
pavement.
You know,
Some
and
glass
I'm not going to go
beams
over
and
and do
rubbish.
that.
I'm just gonna...
Except for the money. That's all.
Well, before you go...
Oh, are we going?
Where are we going?
I didn't know. I thought it was doing well. Are you worried?
Doing very well. We've been going about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's lovely.
But